It's like we're live on YouTube, no, on Zoom, but are we live on YouTube yet? Let us see. There we go. Yes. Okay, awesome. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love. If you are watching this later on Sassy Seer Sheila, I highly recommend that you come over and subscribe here as well. There will be less and less of me over there. I keep saying that because I keep meaning to put these recordings over there and I haven't done it. But I did do a special, very short recording that I'm putting up over there. And this one actually will go over there because I'm going to do something a little different today. I am going to do some cards for the collective, no doubt, because that is what this is supposed to be. But it's also Morning Mojo coffee chat and card pull, right? So I'm going to start by there's something that came across my field this morning that I've wanted to have conscious conversations about. So when I say conscious conversations, I'm speaking on things that are happening in the out there that some folks might not really see as metaphysical in nature. But for whatever the reason, and I do think I now understand part of that reason, I do see them as being metaphysical in nature. And what I mean by that, I'm going to play you about a 3 or 4 minute snippet of a conversation. Well, actually, it's the remarks that were being made by RFK Jr. to his, because he has now been confirmed, and he was doing these remarks to his folks that will be working under him. And as soon as I heard him speak these words, I wrote some of them down. I knew, whether he knows it or not, and this has happened before for me. I've heard this kind of thing with Trump. I've heard this kind of thing with others, whether they know it or not, believe it or not, are at all aware of it or not. It is the underlying energy of source, of God, of the universe, whatever one wants to call it, that inspires this sort of language. And not only that, but yesterday's card pull, and if you didn't see yesterday's Morning Mojo, highly recommend you go back and just take a peek. And what turned out to be, instead of catching up with Crystal and Sheila last night, what turned out to be a shorter version of Intuitive Hangout. I was reading for a reader called Charlotte in the comments, and I felt that card and that sentiment in this speech, in this portion of this speech. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, and I've already got it keyed up to the place where what he is saying is what you'll hear. And I wrote down a certain part of it, but just take a listen to this. Just if you don't like what's going on in Washington, I get it, but I'm telling you, just take a listen. He delivered these remarks, according to this, February 18th, 2025. He is speaking to the employees, his staff at the Department of Health and Human Services. Listen to these last little bit of remarks here.
Finally, I want to ask you to think about.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to stop sharing here because I don't think I optimized it so that you could hear it. Share the sound and optimize. There we go. So here we are. And so let's see. Here we go.
Larger challenge to this agency. If we're really going to end the chronic disease epidemic, we need to recognize the connection between the physical decrepitude that now beleaguers our citizenry and the pervasive spiritual malaise that has left so many young people feeling alienated, dispossessed, disconnected, purposeless, and hopeless.
It's actually not just young people that are feeling that. I want to say this right now, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that. I'm afraid you guys might not be able to hear what he just said. In my view, it's not just young people that are feeling what he just said. This spiritual and physical decrepitude and spiritual malaise. I don't think there's a being on the planet right now that's not feeling this in one way or another. So let's continue on here.
Spiritual and physical maladies thrive on one another. They feed on one another. Our overall wellness must begin with a spiritual question. How do we relate to ourselves, to each other, to our communities, and to the planet?
Now, I'm going to repeat that. Listen to what he's saying here. Spiritual and physical malaise thrive on one another. They feed on one another. Our overall wellness must begin with a spiritual question. How do we relate to ourselves, to each other, to our communities, and to the planet? That is a sign of turning inward. That is a sign of doing shadow work. And I'm telling you, he continues on. So have a listen.
Vested interests in malignant political actors profit and flourish when we are atomized and fragmented and uncertain, when we can be easily propagandized, when we live in fear and helplessness and victimization. These forces prefer to have us in terror and anxiety, which disable our capacity for critical thinking and make us more compliant and more credulous. They want us hiding from ourselves to avoid our own shadows. And
they want us hiding from ourselves and our own shadows. And you tell me how many people are running from their own shadows. Because I can tell you, I ran myself nearly off the planet running from my own shadows.
Dulling our pain and loneliness through sedation and distraction. Yet inside of us, we know that love and self-knowledge are the only true paths to good health. Here at HHS, we need to take on the task of guiding our country and the world to question, towards skepticism, towards engagement, to discover our own paths to living our fullest lives.
I don't see, honestly, I cannot tell you guys that how clear a message that is to turn inward. These folks, a lot of them that are coming up now are showing me that they are being guided by their higher, larger selves who know the way out. The only way out of all of this is through getting in and digging into finding out exactly what is going on. So, okay, preachy time is over, but I just had to, because, oh my gosh, that just ran all over me this morning. And I hope that you will, and I see now that someone else has joined us and you missed quite a bit of really good stuff. So please do make sure you go back and take a listen to this first part because, oh my gosh, to me, and and it feels to me also like there's more and more and more of this happening where folks who they're not outwardly calling themselves light workers. They're not outwardly calling themselves dark workers, but they are speaking that language. They don't know anything about shadow work, perhaps. But my God, can you not hear what he just said? And how it was echoed in from yesterday's um, reading and through the reading that I did last night for Charlotte. I'm telling you, it's beauty to behold to me. It is just so fabulous, and it gives me all kinds of not just hope, but a knowing that we are on the right path. That it's not all gloom and doom like so many people might have you thinking that it is. So, wow, that's all I could. That was the very first thing in my field this morning, and that clearly because that video has been out there now for a few days. Today's the 22nd, and those remarks were put out on the internet immediately following the remarks, which he delivered on February the 18th. So all I can say is if one is truly paying attention to themselves and to what is going on out there in the world, you can see very clearly what is happening. Oh my, okay. So the very first card that came out from the fairies is the Soul Shrinker. And let me just say this about this card. Okay. There are a lot of folks who, particularly when it involves the political, which that whole thing is viewed as political. So it's actually not lost on me that this would be the first card, specifically since I put that out there. Oh, and part of the reason I did that is that these are the kinds of conversations I'm interested in having with anyone who wants to have them. I'm in particular looking for folks who are willing to have these conversations in Zoom, recorded, that are willing to share with everyone. Because here's the other thing. For some reason, especially in this country, having difficult conversations is something that has been totally lost. The art of having a conversation, and even when folks disagree, whatever happened to agreeing to disagree and moving on and continuing to have that conversation? It's like it's almost as though that's become something that, oh, that's a no, can't talk about that, can't do that. And I say BS to all of that, because of the fact that words mean different things to different people. My definition of surrender got all kinds of screwed up. I shared that with folks last night. I shared that yesterday. I will share it again today. Based on how I was raised, how I was treated when I started going in and rectifying some situations, if somebody said the word to me, surrender, oh, no, I'm not gonna surrender nothing. It's going to be my way or the highway because finally I'm in control. And that was a total overcorrection and not at all what like, let's say this deck right here, the surrender deck that I was nudged to buy for myself means. So that's a really good example. The word love means different things to different people. Um, and this is the way of the world. And so when we hear things being said by folks, there's always more than one way to see something, to feel something, to understand something. Yes, you might take it in one way, but is that the only way to take it in? No, not at all. If we get real stodgy and rigid in the way of thinking, oh, sure, I guess it could be. But at any rate, this card being the first one to come out from the fairies, it tells me that someone who may tune in to this and see that that's the first thing I put up there might even shut it down or call me names or whatever because of the silliness that is going around right now. However, um, I think it's important to know because I'll tell you what this talks about here with the soul shrinker. The key words here are cruelty, malice, gossip, curses, destruction, and blessing. The distasteful task of the soul shrinker is to observe what we say to and about others, especially the mean, nasty, and unnecessarily critical things. By observing our behavior this way, he reflects it back to us, makes us more aware of it. This is a bodhisattva, a spiritual being devoted to helping to bring about the enlightenment of all. And I really do feel like that's exactly what has been going on the planet. When folks really tune in, that's why I said, though, to me, those words were very metaphysical, whether RFK Jr. realized what he was saying or not. Uh, so, this is a bodhisattva, a spiritual being devoted to helping to bring about the enlightenment of all type of job. And it requires great compassion, understanding, and forgiveness if the soul shrinker himself is not to be dragged down to our level. If we are just inwardly spluttering, looking for words, he may even suggest to us the words that express our feelings and energy. Then it is our choice, our test, whether or not we say them. There are two important things about malicious gossip, unnecessary criticism, verbal cruelty, sarcasm, and, quote, scoring off of others. One is that it demeans the speaker, makes him less, makes his aura darker, and encourages the behavior as a habit, continually eroding the brightness and potential goodness of the speaker. The other important thing is that this is a way that we actually curse others, because that energy goes out to the other that is being spoken of. And I know this to be true. When I was holding a very close loved one to myself in disdain for their behavior, instead of seeing them as whole and healthy and on a good path, it's like there was more of the same always. Whenever I was around that being, I saw more of the same of what I was feeling and thinking and expressing that I was seeing. when I changed the way I viewed that person in my mind's eye, holding them in a spot of health and happiness and, um, just a whole other way of being, I began to see a difference in them. So I really do feel like this is a true statement. Even if the recipient doesn't hear the actual words of the blessing or the curse, even if the words are not spoken aloud, they are carried as discordant notes through the song of the universe to the recipient. Fortunately, that is not all there is to it, or such behavior would be unforgivably wicked. Not that it isn't pretty nearly that anyway. We all have a choice about whether we accept curses or blessings. If we choose not to accept it, then all of the energy boomerangs back to the sender, who then gets a well-deserved double dose of it. Once, long ago, the soul shrinker was a very beautiful, but was very beautiful, but listening to and witnessing all of this human ugliness has rubbed off on his appearance, like that of a lovely frog in a polluted pool, with his skin raw and forming hideous growths. His heart is compassionate and anguished. His heartfelt wish is that we learn, quote, right speech and, quote, right thought. Every wicked thing a human says makes the soul shrinker more ugly. Every time a human learns this lesson, the soul shrinker becomes a bit less ugly. As you can see, humanity as a whole has a lot of work to do on this. So true. Critical and malicious thoughts and words are having a detrimental effect on the situation and the people involved in it. Steps need to be taken to banish this curse energy through love and compassion, or at the very least through forgiveness and a refusal to accept the curse into oneself. Understanding the implication of this and transforming the behavior and feelings involved is a major and often very difficult step in human spiritual development. One of the things usually involved here is taking responsibility for ourselves and our own feelings rather than blaming others for the way we are. And that is a tall order when you don't think you've done anything wrong, right? I mean, trust me, ask me how I know these things. If we can do that, it is much easier not to be horrible to and about others. This doesn't mean that we are supposed to be all sweetness and light all the time. Constructive criticism given compassionately is a part of being real, and reality is a good thing to be in touch with. And so, not surprising to me that the soul shrinker puts in an appearance today. But right behind him came flying out of the deck the singer of initiation. And that's a very big card to me. It's a card number 9, which signifies the end of a cycle or the beginning of a new. And the key words for the singer of initiation are passage through trial, triumph, new level. The singer of initiation brings a major transition between old and new. As we prepare to pass through any gate, we are greeted by this singer who tests us to see if we are ready to enter into the new realm, or whether for our own safety and well-being we must stay where we are. There is no initiation without testing, And this testing must take us to our limits in order to be valid. Initiation is not just a charming ritual with candles and incense and other occult paraphernalia. True initiation is grounded in material reality, and it extends through body, mind, and emotions. And I want to say this, okay? I know several beings right now who are moving through initiations of different sorts. And I would say that an awful lot of beings on this planet are moving through individual initiations, and they involve different things because it's going to look completely different for each individual. And they may not even recognize it as initiations, but it is. It's a test. How are you going to move through this one? Are you going to believe that this too shall pass? Or are you going to move into a doom and gloom and, well, maybe it's time to go kind of attitude? I mean, I've been there, so that's how I can say that for myself. This testing occurs on all levels of our being. The more profound the change being processed, the more rigorous the test. However, these initiations are only given when the singer knows we have the potential, the ability, and the opportunity to pass them. I'm reminded here of a biblical reference. Not just that this too shall pass, but God never gives one more than they can handle. If we pass the initiation this singer offers, we are strengthened by the process itself. I know I laid at death's door for almost 12 years. And I rather than die and leave the planet, I finally began to see a thing and understand a thing and move off and away from that thought process, the whole thing, taking my life back into my own hands. In working through it, we learn something about ourselves, and we move finally and irrevocably from one way of being to another. This card signifies breakthrough. Drawing this card notifies us that significant change and challenge are both occurring in our lives, with the potential for moving into a new realm, which involves a new way of being. This major change has been building for a long time, and the moment is now here to meet this challenge. We may already be aware of the initiation process, but perhaps have only seen it as bad luck or fate. It is neither. It is an opportunity to see if we have deep down truly learned the lessons we have been working on or are willing to apply them in our lives. Often, knowing just what the initiation is about can seem one of the most difficult aspects of the process. However, once passed, it eventually will become clear in hindsight. For now, we only need to know, as this singer said to one Oracle group member, it can be done. Look with your heart. The presence of the singer of initiation in a reading often presages a period of success, of seeing, accepting, and using our own powers at a higher and more ethical level. We move into greater fulfillment of our potentials. It also means taking on a new level of responsibility for ourselves and in the world. The gate is open to us, but we must take the action of stepping through it. which is very, very true in many ways. And if one is moving through something highly difficult and not really understanding what is happening to one, I highly suggest that perhaps that is an initiation. Perhaps you now find yourself in the womb, in the void, the womb of creation, where the old you must die and the new you is being reborn. And this is a difficult process, especially when when one thinks they've made it. Because hey, I think I've made it, and I get shown all the time. Oops, no, I didn't. Oh, I thought I did. But this is a journey, not a destination anyway. So there are going to be many, many, many initiations along the way. So we're going to do 2 more cards before I let you go. We're going to do one from the Alchemy Elementals by Shaman Direct, and then we're going to do one by the Rumi Oracle by Alana Fairchild and Rasuli. And then I shall be about my day, and I hope that you will be about yours. I'm going to take this opportunity while I'm shuffling these beautiful cards to say that I am looking for participants to the new book club that I'd like to form to begin sometime in the month of March. For those who might be interested in getting together for 2 hours a week and reading together the Celestine Prophecy book. I've never actually read the book. I've seen the movie. If you think you might be interested, but you'd like to see the movie, let me know. I can work that out for you in some way. Ooh, that one, we've had that one before. That's interesting that come up with everything that's come out of late about Stargate, because to me, that is what that looks like. But I want to see another one, please. Ooh, that one, okay. Another jumper. Ooh, we haven't had this one. Okay. Because I really do feel as though, and I live in community, and community is not easy. It never is easy because everybody has to decide that that they want to live in community and be able and willing to look at things that they would normally not accept or not like, or that sort of thing. Just because I've always been this, that, or the other doesn't mean that that's been a good thing, and it doesn't mean that I have to continue my life on that way. And living in community in this way has been so helpful for me. When you live with people who are aware of the metaphysical side of life and are working on their own shadows, as well as what I'm doing, working on mine, it really makes that easier in many ways. And much more enjoyable, so much more enjoyable. Sometimes it's a little difficult, in the moment, in the heat of whatever moment is surfacing, especially if because, hey, I'm an old lady and I've done a lot of things one way in my life. And so learning to be a different way to challenge my programming and conditioning has been an interesting exercise in and of its own self. But it has been such a pleasure to be able to see myself. And I found out quite by accident as I started learning about astrology that actually shows itself in my chart. Part of what I came here to do was to learn about myself through my interactions with others. And so, believe you me, that's been a bit of an eye opener. Oh, definitely trust. That's been a bit of an eye opener. Okay, so who wants to be read first? Ah, okay. The surrender to success. You are ready to experience abundance. Don't look back at previous roadblocks or difficulties. Leap into an exciting new world of possibilities. Oh, how delicious that is. Um, yeah, I've been seeing, I haven't clicked on any of them yet, but I've been seeing where other tarot readers have something for Libra. And there's two right now that on my watch later list that I was drawn to, that I am guided to take a listen to, which I will be doing either later today or this evening. And they both speak to major changes that are about to occur for me personally. So I'm kind of interested to see what these major changes actually are. Now, what happened to that? I had this marked and it fell out, I guess. Okay, so the one that we had before that I was kind of interested to see show up was sky, snow, and star. And for all the world, that looks like a stargate to me that is very indicative of, the Stargate SG-1 series, the Stargate movies. It looks very like that. And it absolutely carries portal energy and emotional energy. Because I don't know if it's showing up very well here on camera, but inside here, there looks to be a whale or a dolphin, some sea-going creature there being shown, even though on the outside of this portal, it's snow and it's, ostensibly earth, but this is sky, snow, star. So let's see, sky, snow, star, page 59. Let's see what this has to say here. Sky, snow, star. The name of the game on this planet is evolution. You, my dear, came here to evolve, not to be perfect, not to impress other people, and not to collect likes for your bikini selfies or your six-pack stomach situation. Earth is an evolutionary realm. I highly agree. What this means is that you need to get real with yourself, like really real. You cannot hide from your shadows or your issues. You must look within and get clear on what is and isn't serving you. Wow, doesn't that go with everything that I've read, the cards I've pulled over the last little bit here, including last night? Uh, so you must look within and get clear on what is and isn't serving you, as well as what it's time to shift and to let go of. To stubbornly cling to that which no longer serving you and to pretend that it's all fine and pop rocks is a false mean of achieving power. And babe, you're far too lit to settle for false power. Take some time out for introspection and self inquiry and acknowledge the triggers and the traumas that are ready to be transmuted. It doesn't have to be hard or painful or labor intensive, although it could be. I know for some that I'm aware of, it is. It is very hard and very painful and very intense. These aspects are simply inviting acknowledgement so that you can gracefully move on and reclaim the true power that is naturally yours. Wow. That's about all I can say about that is wow. And being that the number on the card is 43, to me, that's numerologically, that's a 7, and that is a divine number. And now the other one that came out from this deck was Water, Spring, and Star. And it is on page 45, which is a 9, but on the card, it's card 31, which is a 4 numerologically, which is foundation. It's all about foundational energy. And for me, there's a lot of portal energy in this one as well. And emotion, because again, there's water in here. You are being beckoned into a journey of discovery. Gather your courage and your faith, my love. It is time to let go of the old and to venture into the unknown. But let's be clear. This journey has nothing to do with obligation, expectation, or have-tos. And it's not about goals or achievement or arriving at some great and grand destination. Well, didn't I just say that it was a journey, not a destination? Oh, how interesting that is, right? This is a journey of desire and discovery, which I highly, highly, highly agree that that's what I've been doing most intensely since 2017, really. I think it really started with my awakening to some of the geopolitical corruption and that sort of thing in 2009. But once that really took hold, and then I kind of woke up to what I was doing to myself with the medical industry and not taking my own health into my own hands. And then my mind got even clearer after I started doing that and got myself off of all those medications. And then in 2017 is when I really, Lisa Flamino Rush came into my life. And it's been on like Donkey Kong ever since, man. I'm just saying the whole initiation into looking at me from an entirely new angle really truly began in 2017. So this is a journey of pleasure and passion and all that you could possibly want. Allow yourself to let go of everything you thought you were and everything you thought was required of you, and let yourself be guided by your deepest yearnings. Oh my God, that sounds so much like move in every moment towards that which brings you your highest joy. Because that is, for me, that is what this entire thing has been for me. That I never allowed myself until 2017 to really start getting to know, well, who the hell are you anyway? And what is it that you really want out of life anyway? You know, I've been all these things to all these different people, but I never, ever, ever slowed down long enough to ask myself, who do you want to be? What do you like? What do you want to do with yourself? No, I was too busy trying to fulfill somebody else's idea of whatever a good little girl who's supposed to do this and supposed to do that should be, do, have, whatever. The deeper you allow yourself to delve into your authentic, heartfelt longings, the more you will discover about yourself and the world. And boy, I'm telling you, that's a true statement. Absolutely true, if you ask me. There's no two ways about that. I mean, that is just so smack on. And our final card for today from the Rumi deck is the Star Mother Arrakis, which, by the way, I didn't say this. The Soul Shrinker was card number 55. Double nickels, double the change. That is what 5 means to me, change. And sometimes intensive and can be upsetting change, right? Well, again, I told you my black moon Lilith is is in the primary fear is the fear of change. Great, right? So that's something I know I came here to look at and overcome for myself. So the Star Mother Arrakis, be the king who has made his own kingdom. Be the moon that has made her own summit. How much longer will you coo like a pigeon? Empty your head of all mortal lusts and become life without breath. And you will not call out for God anymore, for you have become immersed in God. That's a quote from Rumi. Your star mother, Arrakis, dances with your soul on the celestial inner planes. She dances in the embrace of Father Sky, shining white and pale, deep in devotion to the light beyond all that is. Arrakis, dancing star of the heavens, incites our souls to feel the rhythm of life and surrender to it in flow, in grace, stumbling, and in play. Like a child who thinks not of the quote, right steps, but just moves with music and with joy. She reminds you to dance freely and from your heart. She reminds you that your soul is constantly dancing with the divine. What better way to connect with the joy and beauty of your soul than to mimic its movements? So dance, beloved. Let your being dance. Oh, Arrakis, your bright beauty penetrates even the darkest of minds to remember, remember, remember. She calls out, her voice is music to our hearts. Quote, you are a child of heaven. You are born of such regal stuff, dear dancing child of the stars. When you suffer, I send you my comfort as stars falling from the sky. When you triumph, my dance becomes wild and light erupts from my heart in all directions. The light becomes music, stirring within you, and with an urge almost inexplicable and yet so very deep and real. To make music, to create art, to dance, to play, to be at one with the joyful, creative energy that dwells within you, beloved. End quote. Star child, earth angel, divine creature, your star mother keeps an eye on all the wild games happening in the sacred playground of the earth. She will care for you, righteous and true, shining divine justice and protection. No bully shall prevail over you. No bully from within you shall prevail either. Yeah, I've been quite the bully even to my own self. No lies, deceit, or injustice shall temper your wild truths. Be demanding in claiming her love for you. Learn how to love yourself as she loves you with wild, unconditional, passionate regard. Be like the child wailing for its mother. Mama, come close. Then she descends like a torrential downpour of devotional light. A tsunami of affection is unleashed. A rampage. A rampaging cosmic tigress hurtles toward you, her claws gripping the fabric of the skies as she rushes to protect her beloved cub. She will fight for you against the forces that would dull you and dumb you down, obscure your brilliance, and stultify your free-form dance into strict choreographed movements. She will pour her luminous essence into every crevice of your demanding soul. Nothing can resist her light. All shall be washed and revived in the outpouring of her luminous love. Then, sated and content, you are the child so secure in the love of the mother. You trust in life implicitly and in what it has brought to your door. You do not succumb to untruths. You do not resist because you are safe, held in the love of the mother. You have no need to resist. What is there to resist? Nothing. There is only the loving truth in your world, and all is at peace in your heart. And should there be cause to stand up and fight for love, for freedom, for light, for her truths of unconditional life, respected and honored, well, you shall be particularly equipped for success. When there is that war to fight, you shall be the warrior who defends the motherland, absolute in your devotion to her ways, and empowered through her vast, indefatigable, triumphant power. And shall you bludgeon your way with brute force and fear? Of course not. So here is your guidance. Lay down your old weapons, for new technology awaits you. It is the most magnificent of forces, that of divine alignment, of surrender to the Star Mother and her way of luminous potency. From her great vantage point, the vastest problems of our earthly mindsets are merely in need of a quick whipping by the tail of a comet. And this she easily achieves by flicking a strand of her hair or poking out her tongue. In the hands of a greater being, even your deepest trials will succumb to divine victory. Your ability to take the journey will be strengthened, and your success only a matter of the passing of time. Can you give yourself this gift? This blessing of the love, power, and protection of your star heritage? We all descend from the stars, but some of us are asked to remember, to acknowledge the divine parentage from which we come, and to allow the innate divine dignity within to restore us to faith in the path here on earth. No matter how dark life on earth may seem at times, when we remember our holy heritage, we can also realize, ah, yes, I am blessed, held as one with the mother who shall not be deterred from great holy purpose. I shall prevail. I forgot that and feared, but now I remember and am determined once more. Then you shall feel joy and be inclined to dance, to sing, to make your art, and to live fearlessly once again. Wow. What a reading for today, I feel like. It's just showing me that what I have been feeling all along about the what's going on the planet absolutely is so. We are moving through an evolutionary shift where the human is remembering themselves in ways that we haven't, not only just in my lifetime, but for eons of time. We've been sold this bill of goods about who we are and how we're supposed to be and what's true and all of this. And none of that has been so. So I hope this was helpful for you. And I hope you enjoyed what I am sharing here. I do think that it is for the collective, but if you were drawn here to this reading, there is definitely most something here for you as well as the collective. I always feel like that is the truth. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And so I hope that you will continue to move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It is truly just a matter of perspective and your perception of that perspective. And if something is presented to you that you say, well, where is the joy in that? How can I find joy in whatever this awful thing that's taking place is happening right now? Well, the truth of the matter is, it may look and feel awful, but we don't really know, actually, if it is, in my view, awful until some time passes, because it's been my experience rather a lot, especially of late. I keep being called to see how I've labeled something as horrific in the past that happened to me, only to find out that it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Because look at the joy that has come from that now. So I hope that this, like I said, that this was helpful. If you are interested in joining me for a book group where we gather together for 2 hours a week and read this book together, that's not talking about reading it and then getting together and talking about it. I'm talking about reading it, and each member of the book group who wishes to, like, if there's questions or thoughts or feelings or whatever surrounding what was just read, we stop reading and we chat about it. And this has been so helpful to me, and very enjoyable to every one of the members of past groups. And I'm not tied to any day of the week or timing either. I wanted to wait and see how many folks actually wanted to join us and what their schedules looked like. So if you're interested in doing that, do reach out, consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com, and just put book club in the subject line. And also give me an idea of the days of the week. Would you prefer daytime, nighttime? Is it, Monday through Friday, or is the weekend better? That sort of thing. Just some idea of what would work greater for you. Also, if you are new to this channel and you have not subscribed already, would love to have you join the channel. Well, there's no membership fee or anything like that, but just would love to see subscription numbers go up a little bit. Also, if you're watching this later and not live on Sassy Seer Sheila, which is my other standalone channel, please do come over here to New Light Streaming Love and subscribe. And, you can meet the other members of the New Light Streaming Love team by going to www.new, that's KNEW, lightstreaming.love. Go to that website and take a look around. Meet the team. See what is on offer there. Crystal Hemphill, Journey Intuit is her other name. She is, oh my gosh, she's a young single mother, and she has so much on offer there. If you are looking to support a small business, you can support her by purchasing some of her jewelry that she makes or the t-shirts that she has designed. She has courses that are available on Udemy. If you feel like you'd like to have a reading with me, I don't charge for those, because again, folks don't reach out to me unless they're ready to shift. Actually, it has been said of me that I am a spiritual catalyst. And so, just reach out and we can talk. And so until we meet again, my friends, be well. Mwah. I love you.